Hello, this is Joshua for Frost Dragon Designs, and today I'd like to talk to you about my Leaf Pile Cat Heart Enamel Pin. This pin is part of my monthly Cute Cat Pin subscription club. Every month, members of the club get a new cute cat pin sent to them directly in the mail. If you join the club anytime in October 2023, the first pin that you'll receive is the Leaf Pile Cat. It ships in early November. Now let's get into the design. So you can see on the left-hand side there, I have a little sketch of a cat falling back into a pile of leaves. I really loved this little sketch and I thought that it would make a fantastic pin design for the autumn. But it did concern me a little bit when I thought about how I would practically go about doing this. It's one thing to sketch a cat falling back into a pile of leaves and kind of sketchily imply that there's a whole bunch of individual leaves in the pile. It's a completely another thing to actually illustrate a cat falling back into a pile of leaves. For an actual pin design, I was likely going to have to illustrate at least the outline of a lot of different leaves. Whether I was doing that as screen printing or was doing that as actual enamel cells, I wasn't sure in the very beginning. But I do generally have a preference for doing things like that as actual enamel cells. I try not to use screen printing unless I absolutely have to, or in some cases I really feel like it would work better as screen printing. But for the leaves, I really wanted them to be outlined individually, and that was a bit concerning just from a standpoint of, the logistics of actually having this pin produced. Concerning, yes, but obviously it didn't stop me because that was the direction I ran forward with. This pin design was, heavily inspired by my memories of childhood. I remember raking up the leaves, sometimes with my brother's help or my dad's help. And I remember being, finished the task. I could have, gone inside and done something else, but instead I chose to either, jump in the pile of leaves or fall backward into the pile of leaves and, just carry on as a kid outside and, get stuff all in my hair and generally, spread the leaves back out, and then I'd have to rake them back up again, which was fine because it was worth it, And like every time I have those memories, and even when I just look at this pin design, I can smell the leaves. I can smell the leaf pile. It has a very specific scent. If you've ever smelled it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's such a wonderful scent memory. And, I love the way scent memory works. You can either be thinking about something and you will remember the smell, or if you smell that same smell again, you will remember those times. It's very interesting. You can actually use it as a study aid. Get yourself like some peppermint oil and have a whiff of that while you're studying for a test, and then put some peppermint oil on your wrist or something when you go to take the test. And that actually, you look weird sniffing your wrist, but that can actually help you remember what you were learning the first, when you had that other strong scent association. So there's a really strange study tip from me for you if you happen to be in school right now. But anyway, autumn leaves, I have very strong memories about autumn leaves. Speaking of the leaves, the first leaf that I individually illustrated for this was meant to be like a maple leaf, and I made copies of it and, adjusted their size and, width and that sort of thing a little bit. But then I started thinking about, out in my yard now, I don't just have a bunch of maple leaves. I have some maple leaves and I have some, some other things, sycamore, and I don't know what some of them are. They're just there. I have some Bradford pears in the back. And so I have a lot of different leaf shapes, and I thought that was something that I would want to have going in this pin design as well. I didn't want it to just be like a monoculture of leaves. I wanted to show that there were a variety of different kinds of trees around. Just saying that sounds funny. I'm designing a pin of a cat falling backward into leaves, and I'm thinking about the fact that I want to make sure it's showing that there's a multiple types of trees that live in the cat's region. I tell you, sometimes designing pins is a weird thing for me. I love it though. It's so fun for me. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I had been sketching for years and years before I started making enamel pins, and I never had a use for any of those little sketches. They just lived in my sketchbook, and sometimes people would see them. Most of the time, people wouldn't. And I think it's just amazing now that I can take those sketches, turn them into cleaned up pin designs, have them made into physical pins by my production partner, and then share those little sketches with the world, basically. It's amazing, honestly. The final challenge that I really had with this pin was figuring out what color to make which section of leaves. I was really only working with the 3 colors, red, orange, and yellow, and I did my best to make sure I didn't have the same color next to itself so that we had, good contrast. But sometimes that's not always possible. But in the end, I really just love the way this pin looks. It reminds me of fall, makes me smell the leaves, and I hope that you really enjoyed this one too. So thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. And if you've enjoyed this design process, please go ahead, like, and subscribe. I put out a new video each week, and I would love to have you along for the next one. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.